Imagine being so sure you could find God's blueprint for the universe that you accidentally rewrite everything we thought we knew about it. Well, that's the story of Johannes Kepler. He was this brilliant, deeply religious, and, incredibly stubborn astronomer who set out to prove the heavens were perfect. But he ended up finding out there was something way more interesting.
So check this out. This was his first big idea, and honestly, it's just beautiful. Kepler thought the 6 planets we knew about back then weren't just scattered around randomly. No, he had this theory that their orbits were perfectly spaced by the 5 perfect shapes, the Platonic solids, a cube, a tetrahedron, and so on, all nested inside each other like a set of cosmic Russian dolls. For Kepler, this wasn't just science, this was math as theology. He genuinely believed he had uncovered God's secret geometric plan for creation.
And this is where the story gets really good. Because, as it turns out, the universe doesn't really care how beautiful our ideas are. The real question is, what happens when a mind like Kepler's comes face to face with cold, hard evidence that just shatters their most precious belief? Do you ignore the facts, or do you follow the data, no matter where it takes you?
To really get Kepler, you have to understand his motivation. This wasn't just some abstract scientific puzzle for him. He saw the universe as a direct image of the Holy Trinity. The sun was the Father, the sphere of distant stars was the Son, and the space in between, that was the Holy Spirit. For him, every single calculation was an act of worship.
I mean, listen to his own words here. The geometrical things have provided the Creator with the model for decorating the whole world. See? He wasn't just some guy crunching numbers. He was on this deeply spiritual mission to, read the mind of God. He believed God made a logical universe and gave us the brains to figure it out.
Okay, so you've got this beautiful theory, but now you have to prove it. And after getting kicked out of his home in Grays for being a Protestant, Kepler lands this amazing job with the legendary astronomer Tycho Brahe. And Tycho gives him one single, huge task: figure out the orbit of Mars. This one assignment would become what Kepler himself called his war with Mars.
And Mars. Mars was the problem child of the solar system. From our view on Earth, it looks like it does this weird little backward loop in the sky. It's called retrograde motion. For literally 2,000 years, astronomers had built these ridiculously complicated models with circles spinning on other circles just to explain it. Kepler thought, no problem, my theory can solve this, especially using Tycho's super accurate data. But Mars just refused to cooperate. After years of calculations, Kepler had a model that was almost perfect. But there was this one little nagging problem. At 2 points in its orbit, his predictions were off from Tycho's actual observations by just 8 arc minutes. Now that is a tiny, tiny amount. Most astronomers of his day would have just chalked it up to error and called it a day. But not Kepler.
So, to give you some perspective, 8 arc minutes is about a quarter of the width of the full moon in the sky. It is a sliver, an error anyone else would have completely dismissed. But for Kepler, it meant everything. He trusted Tycho's data more than his own beautiful God-given theory. He later wrote that those 8 arc minutes pointed the road to a complete reformation in astronomy.
So what did he do? He threw out years of his own work and started from scratch. He tried ovals, he tried egg shapes, he filled hundreds and hundreds of pages with dense calculations in his war with Mars, trying something like 40 different orbital shapes, and every single one of them failed. The sheer persistence it's staggering.
And then, out of all that obsessive frustration and struggle, it happened. The breakthrough. By finally letting go of the sacred, 2,000-year-old idea that everything in the heavens had to move in perfect circles, Kepler found the real answer. And in doing that, he gave us the 3 laws that govern how every planet, every moon, and even our spaceships move today. First, the big one. Planets don't move in perfect circles. They move in ellipses, kind of like a stretched-out circle with the sun off to one side. Second, a planet sweeps out equal areas in equal time. All that really means is that it speeds up when it gets closer to the sun and slows down when it's farther away. And third, he found this absolutely stunning mathematical relationship, a true harmony, that perfectly links how long it takes a planet to go around the sun with its distance from the sun. The 2,000-year-old spell of the perfect circle was finally completely broken.
But here is the craziest, most profound irony in Kepler's story. While he was up there discovering this sublime, perfect mathematical order in the heavens, his own life down here on Earth was just relentless chaos and tragedy.
Just look at this timeline. This is all happening while he's doing his revolutionary work. He's forced from his home. He loses his favorite son and his wife within months of each other. His own church excommunicates him over some theological squabbles. And then, and this is just unbelievable, he has to spend 6 years of his life fighting to save his own mother after she was accused of being a witch. And this, right here, this contrast captures his whole existence. On one hand, you have the perfect, God-given harmony he was finding in the cosmos, and on the other you have the harsh reality of his life in Prague, a life just filled with grief, persecution, and uncertainty. You have to think his work was his refuge, right? It was the one place where order and reason still made sense when nothing else did.
So, despite all that turmoil, what did he leave us with? I mean, his work wasn't just about fixing a few equations. It laid the absolute foundation for all of modern physics.
You can think about it like this. Kepler gave us the how. His 3 laws were a perfect description of how the planets were moving. Then, about 50 years later, Isaac Newton comes along and gives us the why, with his law of universal gravity. And get this, Newton's work was directly built on Kepler's laws. Without Kepler, you don't get Newton. It's really that simple. You know, maybe the great Carl Sagan put it best. He called Kepler the first astrophysicist and the last scientific astrologer. And that just perfectly nails his place in history, doesn't it? He was this incredible bridge between 2 worlds. He was the first to use physics to explain the heavens, which makes him the first astrophysicist. But he also still cast horoscopes, believing in this mystical connection between the stars and us, making him the last of the old scientific astrologers. And his legacy isn't just in textbooks, it is literally written across the stars today. NASA's incredible planet-hunting telescope, the one that discovered thousands of new worlds like this one, was named the Kepler Space Telescope. The man who first figured out how planets really move now has his name attached to the search for new Earths orbiting distant suns. How cool is that?
And that kind of leaves us with a final question. For us, Kepler's true genius wasn't just his brain power. It was his courage. The courage to destroy his own most beautiful idea because of one tiny, inconvenient fact. So it makes you wonder, what are our perfect circles? What are the beautiful, cherished ideas we hold on to today that are just waiting for a new Kepler to come along and break them?